All right, good afternoon, Angie. How are you
I
today?
am well, Danielle. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you so much for allowing me to record this portion of the interview. I am going to go ahead and take some notes if that's okay with you. And we will use this portion of your interview to help market you to some of our clients. You have a fabulous resume. I see that you've got, some really good tenure, some really great businesses, companies here in Volusia County that you worked in the HR realm. And just to preface, you were out of work. You had a medical issue that you had to attend to, so you're out on leave. So now that's why you're available. So fast forward a year or so, and now you're back on the market looking for another job. And you did keep your skills sharp. We were talking about a little temporary thing that you did in between while you were looking. So I feel confident that you've kept your skills sharp. So why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about what you did at your last job and where you worked?
Most of my history as a journalist, can't talk today, sorry. I have had some director experience, but most of it's been as a journalist, doing payroll, benefits, communicating with the employees, doing the ER, and at least in some instances, such as the last little smaller place that I worked, they had their own team that dealt with the hierarchy of ER. So I did, the planning at the office and said, okay, I did the talked to everybody, did the interviews, got everything together. And then I was able to pass it on and I didn't have to deal with that part of it. Enjoy that. I enjoy being in the midst of people whom I can help. I enjoy making a difference. So I feel like the generalist position is the one that I've had the most luck with staff, to help them, guide them to their next step, which is one of the things that I enjoy doing. I am one that wants to set people up for success. So in my head, I would train my replacement kind of mentality, if you would kind of understand that. So that's what I've experienced and been with.
Mm-hmm. So, and you have your SHRM certification?
My SHRM CP, yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And so your last role was it nonprofit?
It was. Well, the early learning was nonprofit. Before
Okay.
that was a nursing home facility, which obviously is profit. Okay. But my last big major employer was Early Learning Coalition, which is a not-for-profit.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. And then what softwares have you used over your career?
I'm sorry, you broke up.
Oh, which softwares have you used?
I've used several. As far as payroll and HRIS, I've used ADP, Workday. Gosh, I draw a blank now. Paychex, Paylocity, most of your larger ones.
Paychex, Workday.
I have found that if you've known one really well, you can usually find your way around the others.
Sure, absolutely. So I really thought that this was pretty interesting. Tell me about the cost savings, about the streamlined onboarding that you have written here in your resume.
Yes, I was really excited about that. When I was at the Early Learning, we were still using Indeed and just using your free ads. And I wasn't able to keep track of what kind of replies I was sending out. Was I sending them out on time? All of that you want to snapshot of. And I wasn't able to grasp it through Indeed. So I went to my supervisor and I said, hey, I have this other program that I've experienced in. And if you would let me, I would love to bring this on board. So we researched other platforms and we discovered the one that I was most interested in and knew about was the one that we went with. And I was so excited to get a hold of it because this one allowed my directors to have access. I could give, and they could see every step that I was making. So they were able to jump on, don't talk to that person. They're not interested. I'm not willing. I know that one. It made it so streamlined. And I was able to build my rejection letters, my thanks but no thanks letters, all of those things, depending on, the situation. And I could plug them in, and it was fabulous. First time I was able to streamline anything. And I did that because I had one applicant that said, I never heard anything back. And I thought that was really unprofessional. And I listened. And that was, kind of the sales pitch that I gave my supervisor, but it went really well. I hope that they're still using it. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be, but it kind of put a passion. It was exciting. So we were able to hire more people. We were able to start seeing reports and seeing where they were coming from and the degrees, and opened so many more avenues, especially for those directors to be able to see those applicants even before I did.
Sure. What system were you using?
Oh, you're going to make me lie. What was it? Applicant track.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's called.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, in addition to that, I liked the fact that you were also developing leaders. That's something too that I thought was pretty interesting with your performance improvement and your training. So tell me a little bit about your training experience.
Sure. One of the main things that I worked with on that particular project was teaching my directors how to interview, because it just, one had one style, one had another, and it was more of a conversation on each side. And as well as I do that means not everybody's getting the same questions.
Sure.
Right. So we wanted it to be more streamlined and fair across the board. So I built from scratch all the way to the hiring process, a set of questions depending on the department. So this department had this set of questions because it pertained to these things. And we rolled out with it at the same place, and they loved it. It helped, again, streamline how things went and the progression that things went. So I was proud of that too. I did a lot there. I feel very privileged. It was all the early learning, and I feel very privileged to have been a part of their growth.
Well, that is amazing. I know a lot of the folks over there, so that's I'm sure that they are still using your gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. I guess it's the early holiday, right? All of your contributions to the organization. Well, I am going to go ahead and stop this part of the interview. I mean, you check all the boxes for an HR role, for a generalist, possibly even HR manager. I know that you said that you're probably looking for a little bit more generalist, just since you have been out of the market for a little while. So I think it really would depend upon the company, and the size. A very large company, it might be a little bit different than, something a little bit smaller. But we can talk about that more so off camera. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the interview. Let's see here. And then don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Sure.